the work we've done. We fought in your wars in every land to keep this country free, y'all. Women, children, and men. But anytime we ask for pay or loan, that's when everything seems to turn out wrong.
Police dogs.
We've been beat up, called names, shot down and stoned. Every time we do right, somebody say we're wrong. Tell them when will we be paid for the work we've done? When will we be paid for the work we've done? Listen, we work this country from shore to shore. Women cooked all your food, washed all your clothes. We picked cotton and laid the railroads here. Worked our hands down to the bone. And your lover may tell me when we be paid all the work we've done. When will we be paid all the work done? Will we ever be proud of my country, 'tis of thee? Will we ever sing out loud, land of liberty? When will we be paid for what we've done?
Replace rock cross.
I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know when will we be paid for we've done? Oh, when will we be paid? We've given up our sweat, we've given up our tears, stumbled through this land over 300 years.
Peace. What's going on, fam? What's going on? This is just a little pop up. I ain't gonna get too deep. You know, the team and I, we gonna go in this upcoming Tuesday. I just wanted to jump on and just talk a little bit about, you know, I'm gonna start calling these brothers can't get right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts, man. You know, we're gonna start calling these dudes can't get right, because they can't get right at all. So you know, this upcoming Tuesday, brother Garfield has agreed to come on the platform, Be the Power. So we're gonna have a different type of discussion. You know, this time we get to control the panel, and we're fair. We've always been fair, as anyone who watches our platform knows this. Reggie, and when I say Reggie, I'm not confusing the intelligent brother Reggie from Boston that's a part of the ADOS movement. I'm talking about, I'm trying not to say what we call him in our inner circle. I'm adding my brother Josh, so I'm trying not to say what we call him in our inner circle. But I'm talking about the Reggie from Harlem. For now, we'll just call him Can't Get Right. Can't Get Right 1 and Can't Get Right 2. Something is really wrong with these guys. You come across certain people, some people suffer from extreme narcissism. Yeah, I'm talking about Garfield. And Sarnetta Reggie, L. Smith. That's what I'm talking about. Sarnetta's Reggie. You know, he's a genius mind over there on Sarnetta TV. Over here, he's not even out of elementary school at all with that bogus Black City plan. And we're going to get into a lot of that stuff Tuesday. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit before Lovecraft Country come on. And there was so many different things. The first thing I want to address, right, is this. When you know that you're dealing with a consummate liar like Garfield, I like to set my little traps. My father's father is ADOS through his mother. My father's father is Panamanian. He worked on the Panama Canal. So what I did during the first discussion we had the other day was I brought up my father, and I led Garfield right into the trap that I was leading him in. These guys are just, I don't know why they think that they are so smart. I don't know why people believe that because you go on Sarnetta's TV, and that's not a knock on Sarnetta's channel. I go on Sarnetta's channel. But because you go on there, you're somehow a genius because you got people who may cheer you on. So I said, I think my pops was Panamanian or Jamaican or something. I know exactly what my pops is, right? But my pops is ADOS. His mother is ADOS. That's why I went on there to share my lineage, to let it be known that both of my bloodlines go through to slavery. And I knew what this disingenuous liar, I gotta call him what he is. I knew that somebody said, quote unquote, Abba hurt my feelings, brother Reggie. That's funny. Yeah, that's how he acts like he's just, man. Anyway, but I knew that he was gonna run with that, right? And try to create something that it wasn't. And when he went on ADOS101.com and started reading the criteria on the link that is the roadmap to reparations, he had to correct himself. Oh, my bad. I apologize. I was wrong about that. I don't know if he actually apologized. Narcissists don't necessarily apologize. But y'all, if one of them jump in the chat, please post it up because I'm kind of looking at the screen right now. I'll give them a quick link for a preview until we come on this upcoming Tuesday. I got brother Josh in here.
Peace, family. Peace.
Josh came up in there like real John Wick quick. Just hit boom, 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 boom. Just real quick and easy. See, when you're debating with low information, low IQ individuals, and they may have a higher IQ in other fields. In the field of politics, they don't have a IQ at all. It doesn't even register. So it is our job to come on a platform like that and teach. When I come there, because I'm used to going into the Lions, then I'm coming to talk my junk. I'm coming to talk my smack. I'm telling you to shut up, all of that stuff. So I'm so glad now, and I could do that because I got my bros here. I don't have to be how I was back in the days where I was basically always by myself being teamed up by 4 and 5 dudes, still smashing them out though. And Reggie and Garfield and the rest of them guys, it was no different. So it's good to have the brothers there. Oh, go ahead, bro.
it's like when you hooping and you go to the park and you like you kind of on the sideline just watching, like I'm about to get in the next game. I got next, right? So you looking at the dudes on the court, you're like, oh, this about to be easy work, but you ain't saying nothing. You just letting them ball, then they get on the court. Next thing you know, y'all running up the score. They ain't scored yet. But they talking. They talking a whole lot of junk. And then they might score one little. They might make one little lucky joint off the glass. They hit a 3-pointer off the glass. They really talking now. They think. You know what I'm saying? And you just hurry up and get them off the court. That's kind of how that conversation goes. You think that you just because you talking loud and you want to foul and you want to do all that kind of stuff, that will make up for the work that you didn't put in on doing your work on the subject, actually being in the space, fighting for the position that we're fighting for. You can't just make up for lost time with fouling and talking trash. Like that's not gonna work on the basketball court. And we could talk trash, we could foul too. We just want to play ball. So we don't need to do it. We're gonna talk trash when the game over, when you gotta get off the court. And that's kind of how I looked at that particular situation.
Yeah, it's so funny, right? Because I came in wanting to throw elbows and knees and stuff. So I came in wanting to foul because I know that these guys can't win a real intellectual debate. When I offered them to come on the show or on our platform, rather, you notice that Reggie said if he couldn't be cursing and screaming, et cetera, that he wasn't gonna come on the show if he can't, because he wants to be in the places like Trump on Fox News or the OAN network. Like he wants to be able to control the narrative because he kept saying ADOS is destroyed. You've been saying that for months, dude. ADOS is popping. Like that's why I was like, yo, and y'all attacking Sister Yvette Carnell. She was just on CNN like last month. Where you at, Reggie? Nobody's checking for you. Nobody's looking for your Black City plan. Garfield, you from Jamaica, and I've told him that, and I'm gonna tell him again Tuesday. This is not your fight. How dare you? How dare you come to a people that's at the bottom of the bottom and tell them y'all are never gonna get reparations? You sound like the European American, the white man. You sound just like them. You sound like the people that we're debating in these racist groups that we're in. I don't even want to call the name of the group out. You sound just like these guys. What's just wrong with you? But that's why this fight is so important, man. Look, I would even love for Sister Yvette or Brother Tone to jump on, like address these guys directly. These guys ain't intellectuals, and sometimes we might think it's beneath us to address certain people, but sometimes, man, there was this troll that would always jump on Deontay Wilder's lives, and he would always say you trash and you can't fight, and I would do this to you and I would do that to you. Deontay Wilder popped up on him. This professional heavyweight world-known boxer popped up on him and just beat the brakes off him in a sparring match. And sometimes you got to do that, man. Sometimes you got to throw them gloves on and find one of them trolls and make an example out of it. Because Garfield is a troll. He's a troll. And we came on, we destroyed every last one of their arguments easy. It was just absolutely easy because these guys are easy work. They're not intellectuals. The brother said that he was a way better researcher, that his methodology was better than mine. And yet I held up a bunch of books that he never read, probably never even heard of before. If your methodology is sound, then you understand what critical research is. So both sides of the argument. This is the basis of sound scholastic methodology. Because you want to make sure that what you're presenting is not one-sided. And that's why I call a lot of them guys one-sided scholars or one-sided junior scholars. So in order to know if what you're researching and drafting to be published is right and exact, you have to check and see what the other researchers and scholars have said in this field, particularly the polemics against whatever argument that you're trying to bring.
Yeah,
And,
man.
yeah,
I want to say, imagine like the conversation we were having, right? The conversation we were having, it was not a like real genuine conversation. Otherwise, you come to the table and you're trying to hash some things out as a concerned citizen, as a concerned, person who really wants to get this thing done. The conversation they weren't having wasn't that type of conversation, because they were like going out of their way to be like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? All this what about is just for the sake of being contrarian and argumentative.
mm-hmm.
For the sake of getting to a solution or trying to really understand. You can tell just by the fact that people, they ain't even go to the website. Like you ain't even been to the website and read the little few paragraphs that's on the link.
No, they was on the last one. In the beginning of it, they were reading it. Let me. So what happened is they started to realize how much sense it made. So quickly they got off the website. They was gonna run through the whole website and just, so they had
to
quickly
beforehand.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They was reading it. They were reading it like for the first thing. But before you're gonna do a whole show, a 5 hour show or whatever, 6 hour show, and you ain't even looked at the website beforehand. And then the brother Reggie said, "Oh well, yeah, I read parts of it." Come on, man. Who you really think you fooling? You wouldn't be having the conversation you had if you read the book.
That's a fact.
Let me tell you this, because in the conversation we were having, we're not gonna go too deep into it. We just trying to just prime this thing just so people can understand. Like, look, if you read the book, you wouldn't be saying what you're saying. In particular, when you're giving your rationale because of something that you want to quote Dr. Darius is saying, you wouldn't just be quoting some speech that you looked up real quick while we're talking on the internet. You just go pick up your book, brother. Go pick up your book, turn to the page, or go if you got it on Kindle or whatever. You would just type it in. You can search and just go read from the book. Cite the book. You're citing your interpretation of somebody's speech. No, go cite the book. Go cite the Roosevelt Institute document. Why you gotta? So that let everybody know. Of course, you didn't read the book. Read parts.
Read anything. They didn't read anything. They didn't read anything.
They don't care to read. That's the point. That's the point we're making. And like, see, what we're talking about is not individual. It's not bigging us up. It's not to elevate us. It's not to say, well, look at what I did. But you notice what the brother was saying. I testified this, and I testified that, and I was on this in 1992, and you didn't do this, and did you read my city plan? Did you read? It's always about me and I. This thing is not about me and I. This thing is not about what you keep trying to put the camera and the attention on you. This is about collective uplift to get reparations for everybody. And I'll go ahead, bro. I got some more I wanted to say on that, but I don't know how.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep it a little basic tonight, but I just like when you. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna do this. What I noticed in the Moorish movement, right, coming through it, like I gotta be anecdotal in this sense, because I noticed that the popular it got, the more it was attacked, and it started to become scrutinized. And the scrutiny was good. After a while, I started to discern, wait a minute, these people over here are not doing what Noble Drew Ali said. This is craziness right here. And then you had the temple. And both of those things got merged. Both of those things got merged. So it's like, then you get somebody like myself that come along, right? And I enter into the fray. And I go in and I'm doing battle with these dudes. I can't even get a word in edgewise, but they know that I'm right. They know that they can't refute the research, so they go from question to question to question. So before you get finished answering one question, they're in with another question. And then they come with another question. This is what Garfield was trying to do on his show the other day. And, you know, these things are easy to see and point out, but what wound up happening is I elevated so much that they didn't want it to grow, because it's like all we do is sit around and talk about stuff on Sinetta TV all day. We don't do nothing. We have nothing to do. We really don't have anything to offer people. This dude talk about his credit and insurance and all. Like, there's a bunch of people doing that, bro. There's a bunch of people doing that. That means nothing. You can't pass credit on to your progeny. It's not how credit works. Like, you could get insurance, but then it gets to the point of when you're ADOS and you're at the bottom of the bottom and you're worth $200 collectively in Los Angeles, do you pay an insurance bill every month, or do you pay your cable bill or your light bills or your cell phone bill? You know, they come with this unrealistic aspirationalism that really clouds a lot of people that may be looking this way for some solution. And some people are just simply afraid of success. Some people believe that this thing might actually happen. So you get someone like Garfield, he's of Jamaican descent, no dog in the fight at all, should be fighting for us, over here living like a tick on a cat or a dog's neck, living good. He pulled up when I was in Harlem in a brand new Range Rover. I'm like, damn, I'm driving a Chevy Equinox at that time. I'm like, damn, he doing good. He reminded me of what the sister from St. Lucia said when she said, you know, American blacks have it tougher than us people coming from the islands. Then I played the clip the other day, and I'm trying to track that research down. It's really hard with that brother. I just was looking at it. What was his name, man? He wrote the book, Mau Mau of Harlem. In his book, he's saying that the United States officials and the government were considering giving Black African immigrants pins or buttons to wear to distinguish them from ADOS, so that they would be treated fairly and that they could get access to hotels and restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what are you talking about, Garfield? Like, nah, this ain't your fight, bro. And the only thing you doing is trying to throw a monkey wrench in the game by stepping on people that you can't even reach. You a midget. You a midget. And you don't even have nobody's shoulders to stand on to even try to get a good shot in the chin. You can't even get a chest shot while standing on anybody's shoulders on the platform that you be on. None of them. None of them.
Yo, so I want to just add a little different perspective. When we say it's not your fight, you know, if you're a reparationist, this your fight.
That's a fact.
If you're anti-reparationist,
it's not your fight.
It's kind of is your fight to fight against it. So that's what it seems like. Either there is no middle fence. Like, you can't, if you see a fence, like a picket fence or barbed wire fence, try straddling it and see if you can do that. You know, like, you can't either you on one side of the fence or the next. You're gonna be a reparationist or you're anti-reparationist. And let me show you how you can tell if you're an anti-reparationist, or in other words, an enemy of the reparations movement for ADOS. And this is, I mean, if you fall in that criteria, this is just what it is. If you first seek to dismiss us, you know, because this is the 4 Ds. I remember the brother Byron Allen talking. He was going through his situation with the Supreme Court, you know, trying to dismiss, get rid of the Supreme, what is it called, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, trying to pretty much make it unusable for us. He said first they try to dismiss you. You know, they say, oh, these people, they don't listen to them. They just some friends group or whatever. They don't have their stuff. They just ignore them. Then when they can't dismiss you and you still growing, you still making noise, then they're gonna try to discredit you. Well, hey, look, they work with some right-wing groups, or, you know, they're not credible. They don't have their stuff together, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna try to discredit you. Look at these people, like they're xenophobic and all this stuff. Then you're gonna say, well, they're still going. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna demonize them. You know, these people are hateful. They always coming and tearing people down. They got Mark Thompson's show taken off of what you call them. A lot of this stuff is, again, it's not even true. It's no basis on it. It's not founded in anything in truth. But they come up with all kind of different creative ways to try to demonize you and try to make the lay person, the person that you might actually appeal to because you're fighting for them, to make them a program to turn against you, preemptively. So when I see and then of course the last one is they try to destroy you, and Brother Naheem, I'm sure you mentioned it, that you dealt with that in the Moorish movement, but you can see the parallels of how they're trying to do over here.
Oh yeah.
We have to ask, if you are going out of your way with all the whataboutisms, like you saw all elements of that attempted on that one broadcast, where they first try to dismiss these people. Come on, get out of here. Then what they do, try to bring up Meghan Markle baby and say, well, this is ADOS, like, really, try again.
Yo, that was funny.
Then he turned around. Okay, they want to try to discredit us, saying, I mean, look, you can try all that. At the end of the day, none of it sticks when you have to talk to real reparationists that know what they're talking about.
That's right.
We're not rooted in no kind of fantasy. We're not rooted in no kind of pseudo-isms. We rooted in fact, and we rooted in, like, the justice claim is you can't get around it. You can't. If either you're going to be justice or you're going to be against justice. And the conversation they would have was trying to justify the conversation they were trying to have was trying to justify denying us justice in a real slick way. It's in a real slick way. So,
yeah, I mean, I got this comment up on the screen, right? And as you were saying what you were just saying, this brother Nick, shout out to brother Nick, one of the BTP mods, he said, yeah, that's a fact, Josh. So when we have to spend a lot of time clarifying what ADOS, so we then have to spend a lot of time clarifying what ADOS truly is, shaking my head. Let me tell y'all something, and I'm going to go back to the Moorish analogy. This is what I had to do. It didn't matter how many times I came up with documentation, whether it was just historical research, whether it was archaeological find, empirical, contemporaneous information that came out with the time. None of that stuff didn't matter. They would all, like, you see what Reggie does? And we're not talking about our intelligent brother Reggie from Boston. We're talking about can't get right Reggie from Harlem. Can't get right. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, we got another word for it. No, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna try to be a little politically correct on BTP. Over there, we throwing politically correctness out the window. But so I had to do that in the Moorish movement as well. They try to keep you on this certain type of pivot because they can't deal with the facts and they don't want to. And Reggie, I believe, said that he voted for Donald Trump. And if that is true, then when you look at the narcissistic, petulant behavior of someone like a Donald Trump, then you see the same type of behavior in Brother Reggie. Brother Reggie will sit there and freestyle a lie. You could say one thing and he'll come back and 10 seconds later and twist up every word that you try to say as if that's going to work with us. We're sharp over here. If I can speak for us, that's if I can speak for us. You're not going to do that, which is why he won't come on this broadcast. He knows that Sarnetta TV and Garfield, the Butter Knife Squad channel, the Dagger Squad channel is a safe space for him. They're going to make sure that Reggie gets to say the things that he said it. I asked him, are you going to come on BTP? No. So you telling me you're not going to come on BTP because you can't curse and scream? That's right. I'm not going to. So because you can't scream and cry and act like a baby and lie, you're not going to come on the platform. It just shows you that these guys are not intellectuals at all. They're cornballs. They're corny. And we got to call them out. And Sarnetta's platform, for those that's in the ADOS movement, that's not too familiar with Sarnetta's platform is huge. Sarnetta's One channel got over 49 million views. The other channel got like over 39 million views. Like Sanetta's platform is huge, and it connects to a certain type of people that we are trying to connect to as we move politically, which is why we wanted to come on why BTP wanted to come on Sanetta anyway. This was supposed to be a once a week thing. But what winds up happening is when you're too intellectual, you got other people in your ear saying no, and you know what you're talking about in politics, and you got people that want to push conspiracy theories and a whole bunch of other nonsense. Then, oh, BTP only makes one appearance on Sanetta. What happened to the political platform, Sanetta, that we supposed to be building up once a week to the from a countdown to the election? The team and I agreed on that. We was never invited back because I said that Reggie's Black City plan was inapplicable. It's garbage. It's trash. It is a fantasy. It's something that some young kid writes in the 7th grade when his teacher asks him, write about your ideal city. That's all it is. This dude is talking about Egypt.
Fiction novel.
Yeah, that's all it is. He's talking about Egypt and a bunch of other nonsensical stuff, man.
Taking over cities by force.
Taking over cities by force. He uses the language of force, but then says, we don't mean by force. Dude, your whole paper is a lesson in cognitive dissonance and a whole bunch of other psychological terms that we could dredge up that would apply. I want to pull something up just real quick. And I want to pull this up. Let me pull this up. The cost of racism. U.S. economy lost 16 trillion because of discrimination, bank says. Right? So if you read this article, okay, yo, hold on. We're gonna bring Ankh on real quick too.
Shout out to the brother Ankh.
I got off afterwards. They said Ankh was in there holding it down.
Yo, I got off, and then you got off, and then I just went back and listened to it like the next day. Yo, Ankh was holding it down. He was, see, and my thing is like, yo, what are y'all doing, man? Like it's one thing you have all these different intellectual battles on talking about religion and all this, but when we talking about reparations, how are y'all fighting against the people that's making reparations move? Like, and when we say making it move, I think one thing that they didn't understand in that conversation yesterday or the other day was before ADOS came on the scene. I don't care what, yes, in Cobra or whoever and NARC, they drafted the bill that ended up being HR 40. Now they redrafted it again and got it and added the problematic language. But even with that, it was going nowhere. It had 2 co-sponsors, as I think 2014, 2015. ADOS come on the scene a couple years later, and guess what? Now today we got 2019 was like 100 and something. Now today is over 150 something co-sponsors.
That's right.
What they don't understand is you have to activate the people. And Cobra ain't never activated no people.
And Cobra never activated anyone.
And NARC, they never activated. And when we say in Cobra and NARC, right, we're not talking about the few people that actually are contributing to the movement. We're talking about the people who are leading and moving it. This is the same way like when people say ADOS, sometimes people, when they say that, they're not talking about, they don't want to condemn the lay person. They don't want to condemn the person that's not out in front. They're talking about the leaders, the people that are the masterminds behind it. That's kind of what we talk about in Cobra and NARC. Those they didn't do the work of activating the people. And part of that is you're not going to be able to activate the people if you don't speak to what the people need, speak to what the people care about. And when you put your ideology over top of what is right and exact, like you can't put this Pan-Africanist fantasy over top of, demanding that the government take action on that and demanding that faking like that's something like we really care about that's material in our lives. The racial wealth gap is material in our lives. All the issues that we see with George Floyd and all the police brutality, those are material in our lives. The facts that's brought by Antonio Moore, Sister Yvette Carnell, Dr. Darity, those are things that speak to things that are directly material in our lives. All this other kind of stuff, repatriation and all, come on, what are y'all doing? So when I see like people that are arguing for these fringe issues, fringe Pan-African issues, and you're trying to make it like that, it moved reparations. That didn't move reparations. Stop lying. Stop.
That's right.
So why would you fight against the people who are moving it?
Wait, let me say it in a way that Garfield can understand. Stop the blood clot lying.
Yo, and I just want to say real quick, you know, you gotta stop lying. And damn, man, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead, bro.
I just want to read this real quick. It says nationwide protests have cast the spotlight. Well, let me go back for anybody that's just coming in. Cost of racism. U.S. economy lost 16 trillion because of discrimination, bank says. And this was published 4 days ago, September 23rd. It says nationwide, Citigroup estimates that the U.S. economy lost 16 trillion over the past 20 years as a result of discrimination against African Americans. Above, we don't need to read that part. Nationwide protests have cast a spotlight on racism and inequality in the United States. Now, a major bank has put a price tag on how much the economy has lost as a result of discrimination against African Americans. 16 trillion. Now, and this is near the reparations price tag, the low end that we're seeking, the low end. The high end is much, much more higher. And trying to close the racial wealth gap, then it's going to have to be higher. But at the low end, we're talking 12 to 14 trillion dollars. So like all of this stuff is coming out now as this movement is causing the groundswell around the reparations discussion. Like this is divine. Whether you say God or call on Jesus or Allah, all of this stuff is starting to happen because it's meant to happen. It's just meant to happen. I think that it's divine. So it says, since 2000, U.S. gross domestic product lost that much as a result of discriminatory practices in a range of areas, including in education and access to business loans. According to a new study by Citigroup, it's not an insignificant number. By comparison, U.S. gross domestic product, gross GDP totaled 19.5 trillion last year. And not acting to reverse discriminatory practices will continue to exact a cost. Citigroup estimates that the economy will see a $5 trillion boost over the next 5 years if the U.S. were to tackle key areas of discrimination against African Americans. We believe we have a responsibility to address current events and to frame them with an economic lens in order to highlight the real costs of long-standing discrimination against minority groups, especially against Black people, and particularly in the U.S., wrote Raymond J. McGuire, a vice chairman at the bank and the chairman of its own banking, capital markets, and advisory team. So this next part says, Wall Street itself has also faced accusations for years of discriminatory practices against African Americans, such as limiting approval for mortgages or not providing enough banking options in minority neighborhoods, which are among the damaging actions identified by Citigroup researchers. When you speak about a reparations commission, right? And I've said that most of the research is already done. Like this is a part of that research. We got this article. We got this article right here from NPR, and several outlets have reported on it. Not acting to reverse discriminatory practices will continue to exact a cost. Citigroup estimates the economy would see a $5 trillion boost over the next 5 years if the U.S. were to tackle key areas of discrimination against African Americans. Only reparations can fix that, family. There's nothing else that will be able to inject the type of capital needed coming from ADOS. I can't speak for Nigerian Americans, like the immigrant class. I'm speaking for ADOS. Only reparations gives the United States of America the injection economically that this particular article is speaking about. And they know it, that this article was a code word for, hey, ADOS needs reparations.
That's basically what it said, man.
Keep flowing. What you got to say to that, brother Josh?
I mean, look, and people, like, we can say, like, all of these things show you the cost of not doing reparations. You know, we've run down the total, we've run down the history of all these different things, and we're going to continue to do that because obviously people still not getting it. You know, you got brothers on these different lives acting like we already got reparations, like. And I think that's the danger of allowing people who don't have to live the cost of that in their daily lives, you know, familial people. When people don't have to live that inherited cost, that inherited disadvantage, that inherited burden that's on your back through your family, not having no wealth to pass down, not having, you know, the ability to do in vivo transfers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, look, like, you can go to school, but what they say, 90% of Black America has college debt, and we need that data disaggregated, you know, because I'm sure it probably, if you put it on ADOS and the ones that's not, you probably gonna show that we probably have more heavily burdened with the debt. But if you look at the fact that we have way more student debt than anybody else, you know, that lets you know. And even you look at that and say, well, we're among the least, not the least, but we're one of the lower likeliest groups to actually have college degrees. You see that there is a price that's paid, and that's a cost that we have to hold, passing down through generations. And if you're getting your opinions from somebody who doesn't hold those familial costs, you really can get putting yourself in position to get led astray. So I don't understand how anybody can let the conversation continue further when somebody's talking and they saying, well, what would you rather have? What would you rather do? You know, use your credit to get some debt, to find some type of business opportunity where you might get the racial wealth gap further widened, or wait on reparations. Ain't nobody waiting on reparations, bro. We've been dealing with this burden for generations. We've been fighting, and we've been doing business. We've been trying to do business. We've been trying to do for self. How long we've been doing for self? Obviously, that's not how. And another thing, stop acting like white folks did for self. They didn't do it for self.
That's right.
Do you not?
Look, we're gonna smash them on that. We're gonna smash them on that.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, you know, but we want to plant the seeds, give them an idea of what exactly we're going to be talking about this upcoming Tuesday, and watch them struggle to find some type of response for it. I got my brother Dre on. I'm gonna bring you in 1 second, brother Dre. Well, you're in already. I just want to answer this question from this brother Orthodox Moore. He asks, at Be the Power, and this is a Moorish question: why can't the temples unify on reparations, and why aren't they moving on reparations? Period. Look, the Moorish movement, y'all know I critique it. I love to critique it because it deserves critique. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we welcome critiques from the inside and out. The reason why is you got certain individuals that I guess the lessons call them the pretended wise. And we seen it last year. Matter of fact, I could call some names out. We see brothers like Sharif Bey. They were at the trek last year, the Moorish trek with Azim Hopkins Bey, taking his little shots at the ADOS movement. And They look to that brother as an intellectual, right? You know, he's real professorial. He sounds intelligent to those that can't really break or dissect his words. But he would never come on this platform with those arguments. So he would get destroyed. It's just as simple as that. So they would never move because the people who are supposed to be the intellectuals are against it. They are so dogmatic and so caught up in the cult of personality. See, I never would worship Noble Drew Ali. I worship Allah. The lessons say man shall not worship man. So when they see somebody like an Yvette Carnell or an Antonio Moore, their minds are so dogmatic that they see somebody replacing Noble Drew Ali. Oh, how twisted these people are. So they can never move forward with anything progressive with that mindset. Noble Drew Ali was never on it like that at all. Go back and read the 3,000 registering article in the Moorish Guide, where this is when the Republican Party was the left-wing liberal or the left-leaning liberal wing of American politics. And Noble Drew Ali says, we are gathering 3,000 strong in Chicago, I'm paraphrasing, under our fearless leader of the Republican Party in, I don't know if it was Chicago or Illinois. Noble Drew Ali called that man the leader. Why? Because Noble Drew Ali wasn't a politician. He was just the head of a religious organization called the Moorish Science Temple of America. In the field of politics, the politicians lead. And so he called that man, I think it was our matchless leader. I can pull it up. I can pull the exact quote up. So I wanted to answer that question because it gives me an opportunity to take my shots at those stagnant Moors. Noble Drew Ali said they was going to drag his movement down so low nobody was going to mention it anymore. I can't even remember all the quotes he said about those type of people that you're talking about that can't even unify on a topic of reparations, where Noble Drew Ali was quoted as saying one day, the Europeans is going to pay our ancestors off for the work that they did in slavery and pay off in compounded interest. Two quotes. So I want to bring my brother Dre on. Unmute yourself, brother.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me introduce you real quick so I can show people how we linked up.
No.
The first debate with Garfield on Sonetta, where I was completely, every time I debate Garfield, it's just I don't care if we talk about the Moors, Islam. The last debate was ADOS. I didn't even have as much information that I have now, and just easy work. It's easy work. But this brother called in, his brother Dre right here, he shut it completely down. And then he and I linked up after, and we kind of stayed in contact ever since. So when Garfield and them was going live, I see the brother in the chat questioning a lot of whatever the stuff that they be talking about. So honors, welcome to the Be the Power platform, brother.
Hey, what up? So I wanted to make a quick point, because when y'all jumped off, I think I was on after Ankh. Maybe I was on before Ankh. What happened was, StreamYard, I never have, like, my iPhone is hard to connect with for some reason. But there was a point that, see, let me get this together. So basically what I'm trying to say is, like, one of the biggest oppositions of this whole reparations movement, as far as, like, in the here now, is that, like Josh just stated, and like you just stated, and like I've been stating it, for a long time, almost parallel to Antonio Moore. I don't really think American-born blacks realize how broke they really are. So what happens is, like, we had a brother, and no disrespect to him, my brother Kyle said, I believe in reparations, but we only gonna spend the money. He said this to y'all too, but he reiterated it to me when I jumped on. He was like, we only gonna spend the money on cars and blah, blah, blah. And then he says, we need institutions and corporations, blah, blah, blah. And you know what I said to him, Abba? I said, if we had institutions, corporations, and industries, would we need reparations? So it's like, what's the difference? So you telling me We need the stuff that we can't get without capital to get capital. Like nobody can do these things without capital, right? So there's three different types of capital. Monetary capital, which allows you to buy the actual physical capital, right? To either do the actual industry that you're in, right? So you can't have a landscaping company without the actual tools, right? The grass cutters, the weed cutters. You understand what I'm saying? So to say, we need institutions and corporations and businesses, oh, you don't have no money to run none of them. So you actually need the endowment first. And I think when you talk, like, think about it when we were all on the platform. As you know, Abel, I just kept dropping off. I couldn't get into the stream. But like we were saying in the back chat, all these people act like they actually have this money already, and that reparations should be in the form of just programs to undergird our money. No, we just ain't got no money. You understand? Does that make sense? Like, so we're gonna sit here and argue about us. Think about this. Let's say we all went to Congress and we said we need reparations, but we okay, but we need reparations. Our bills are paid and we got a bank account, but we need reparations. Congress can be like, all right, get them out of here. They good. They got money.
That's right. That's right.
So it's like we are actually defeating ourselves in the argument instead of understanding where the root lies.
That's
period.
Right.
If money is not power, I think Reggie or who said, Kyle said it. He said, money, there's no such thing as power through money. And I have to totally disagree with that. There's no one who is in power right now that don't have money. Show me one person that can move hordes of people that do not have hordes of money. Like the wise man once said, if you can't feed the people, you can't lead the people. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, definitely. All right, yo, we got brother Ankh, the God Killer, in the building. Let me introduce my brother. Let me say, man, me and Ankh first had our very first conversation was a debate. We've been debating ever since. Hell, we might debate after this is over with on something. But was me, Ankh, and brother Jamil Shabazz from out of Binghamton, New York. And we was debating. I don't know if you remember that. We was debating about the Hittites or something. That was like, man, 2008, 2009, something like that. And we've been going back and forth ever since. But
tore you up, boy.
Oh no, you didn't. Look, let me be honest. I'm gonna be honest. At first, y'all was killing me because I didn't know how to argue. I knew I was on the right path. I didn't know how to argue, so I had to hit the mental gym, build the muscles up. Once I start getting my load up the par, coming in, dip, I start tapping them doors up. So let me introduce the God Killer. Wait, they said you came on after it was over and shut it. If I would have known that you was still on, I would have still listened in. I just cut it off. And I found out after they was like, yo, Ankh is killing these dudes. And I checked my message. I'm like, oh, damn, what's going on? I missed it. And then people went back and listened to it. They was like, yo, some people was like, who is Ankh? I was like, nah, that's Ankh. That's the OG. Go ahead, Ankh. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, first of all, I want to shout out, my children is watching. Shout out to Nubia Onyx, you know what I'm saying? Nephew Mencam, I like to shout them out, you know what I'm saying? That's important. They kind of tuned into the intelligent conversation for a minute. They ain't gonna stay long, but that they tuned in. That's so right. I appreciate y'all brothers taking the stance y'all taking and actually getting into politics. I think that's a space that has not been exploited in the quote unquote conscious community. I think it's important, and y'all play a valuable role in carving out y'all niche. So like for the life of me, I don't understand when people want to fight against getting reparations or think that one particular group got all the damn answers. I know me personally, I've heard of reparations before and all that, but in this particular generation, in this space, the ADOS kind of made everybody, got the youngins involved and really think about it. So I know in COVID did what they did and all that, and that's dope and that's cool. Maybe one day the things will hook together, maybe not. But I feel personally it's important, right, for each generation to pick up that mantle and never forget that. That's the key component that will change our social economics. And if you can change your social economics, You can change the way you educate your people. You can put in place, implement programs. You can build infrastructure. You can change the dynamics. That's the only way to close the wealth gap in North America. So we understand that racism, white supremacy is entwined in the infrastructure because it was built off of racism, white supremacy. Simple as that. So paying that check, giving us our money, is the only thing that's going to be able to change things around here for us. You can't fight your way out of this. You can't black power your way out of this. You need that money because that's what got us in this situation. Slavery was I like to say slavery was the international global market of the day. Like,
that's right.
Let's ponder that for a minute. The global market, bro. It literally fueled the industrial age.
That's a
The
fact.
money gathered for the enslavement of Black African people, right? Whatever you want to call us, okay, fueled European global conquest from France to Belgium to Germany, the whole 9 yards. Ain't nowhere in the world we gonna fight against police brutality, high rates of crime without no damn money. At this point, we like a bunch of baggers. We need the money to continue to implement the ideas that Martin Luther King and them fought for. So Martin Luther King kicked the door open, and I feel like what he did was revolutionary. And everybody
it was.
Martin
It was.
Is that dude? Because if he'd have tried to bang it out, we'd have got wiped out.
Fact.
250 million against 54 million ain't gonna work. And I personally, I couldn't have a person slap me in my face, squirt me down with water hoses, fire department, sick German shepherds on me, police department, and me not respond. So you gotta big up those Christians or whatever ideology they had, right? That allowed them to fight like that. That's deep. And I'm a no religion guy, right? So we
know that.
Right. I don't play the God games. I don't do all that. You know what I mean? I think I've grown to be able to respect all human ideas and concepts and take from what I need. You know what I'm saying? I think that's valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like
we got a couple atheists connected with us. Shout out to Sister Cynthia, brother Arthur Ward. It's a couple atheists that we rock out with hard in the ADOS movement as well.
Chicago. Me too. A hardcore atheist.
Okay,
you know
I'm not atheist.
Don't forget, I'm the one that made God is good and money is better, brher.
You did come up with that. You did come up with that. Hey, I'm just saying, if y'all ever wanted to have a debate on atheism versus religion, I'm here. I don't lose debates.
Let's build.
I don't lose debates.
Yeah.
I ain't losing no debate. Not on that. Y'all can't.
We can do that on Facebook, Abba.
We could do it whenever y'all want to do it. Y'all could bring the whole atheist crew.
But look, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what we're gonna do, Abba. This is what we're gonna do. We can do it on Facebook. I'm gonna go to India. I'm gonna go to the worst part of India. Go live and show you why there's no God. When you see people eat, sleep, defecate, and drink out of the same water, I want to say, where's God and all that?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no, we could do that. I'll feel you on that. I'll have a response. I'll have a response.
I can't wait to see it.
Sure, where our religion and our belief separate us, the fight for reparations brings us together.
That's right. That's real right there.
That's right.
That's why that's what got me to as soon as Naheem hit me up and he's like, yo, check this out. I ain't never heard of Sister Yvette Carnell. I ain't never heard of Brother Antonio Moore. I seen the ADOS hashtag started to go around. I was like, oh, but I never really investigated. And he was like, yo, check this out. So I was like, soon as he sent it to me, I just clicked. I was like, yo, and I got in the ADOS Facebook group, and I was like, man, there's people from all different kind of backgrounds. This Nation of Islam, people from Moorish Science, it was people from Christian churches, people from all kind of weird, obscure groups. But the main thing is right-wing people but everybody came together on the issue of reparations and transforming the Black agenda And you know, the key core things that make us, that we all have in common. And that's extremely powerful. And I think the main reason why we seeing attacks to first trying to dismiss us, to discredit us, to demonize, and then they trying to destroy us, is because they understand that there's no other group in the country, there's no other group in America who has this type of moral undergirding that is owed what we're owed. And for us to rise up, it's gonna make everybody else who's trying to use our story to get something through, to shoehorn into some type of policy. They could use in our story, and they're using all that. It's time for us to put a gate up. We putting the gate up. What ADOS is, we putting the gate up. Like, nah, don't try to show the people getting sick dogs on them and knee on somebody's neck to get some type of other, all lives matter policy, or some type of policy for LGBT, or policy for this. No, this is ADOS. We have the longest standing, most gruesome, terrible, inhumane justice claim, and we need to get our policy. We need to get our justice. Everybody else need to get in line. Get in line. We at the front of the line, and you're not gonna use our place of line and then cut the line in front of us, to get what you get, because that's what's been happening. So now we're saying none of that, and I think that's why we're seeing so many attacks. We supposed to just hold the place in line for somebody else to get in front of us in line. No more of that.
That's right. We got Brother Logic, our BTP team member, in the building. Brother Logic, come in and say something, bro.
Peace. Everybody on the panel, I guess this we out throwing an alley-oop for Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, Ankh, you coming on Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm gonna be here supporting you, man. I ain't gotta beat y'all on religion. I'm gonna support y'all on this.
Yeah. So
politics though, y'all talking politics, and that's
right.
I've always fought for that. Food, clothing, and shelter, and protection of that. And so you gotta have politics, you gotta have scientific literacy. Those things go together for our community. And then you just pick your religion. That's it don't matter. Just pick it.
Yeah, it don't
Go ahead, Mr. Logic. How you doing, brother?
Peace, brother. It's nice to meet you. I heard a lot about you and whatnot. Good to finally see you. I did see the end of the show. I did hear the things you had to say when you were on there. I was one of them people saying that you shut it down that Apple was talking about a minute ago. So that was some dope stuff where you came in there with that energy was real decent. But like for Garfield, Stews and Peas, I think that was his name. And the Reggie dude, I'm not gonna call him Dr. Reggie because he ain't no doctor, man. We're really gonna break down, the foolishness of a lot of that stuff and try to get some understanding on reparations. There's a lot of confusion, and in those 2 days that we hopped on with those brothers and we had that back and forth, what was abundantly clear is if you could separate, just the nefariousness, malicious intents they have to always want to debate with Abba from the actual reparations conversation. Some things were worth having a conversation about. Other stuff, they just was playing games. You know what I'm saying? But so we're gonna pull out the real meat of that conversation and focus on it. We're gonna talk about how Reggie's black plan is to try to undercut and cut the legs out of a pure reparations program, and how after we get off, he's gonna come on and talk about how local reparations and power among the cities is a better play than a program for reparations for Black Americans. That is absolute nonsense. And his black plan, Black City plan, is nothing but nonsense. It's fantastical at its core, and it's childish at any other level, right? It makes absolutely no sense. And the brothers they that were on there with him kept saying, well, Reggie has filed federal paperwork on the federal level. That doesn't, let me tell you, Pete, for those, first of all, our claim isn't even targeted at the judiciary. Our claim is targeted at the legislature. So it don't matter. I got cousins in prison. They excellent at filing paperwork on the federal level. That doesn't mean that they understand how to execute or construct a reparations program. So being able to file, and they always talk about how he was cited. We're gonna go into this stuff in detail, but I'm just throwing some seasoning on it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
None of the stuff that I seen in any of his cases was citing him in the positive. You know what I'm saying? None of that stuff where he's being told, he always about I'm getting cited and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. None of that stuff is citing him in any positive light. So I wouldn't even be bringing all that attention to that stuff. You know what I mean? But it has nothing to do with how you know what you know about government. My point of bringing it out is they always say that, but being able to file paperwork in the federal court system doesn't mean that you know anything about how the government works, or how the legislature functions, or how laws are made, and none of that has any. It means somebody showed you how the proper procedures and protocol and language for filing your particular documents. That's it. That don't mean you know anything about government or how to play the game. So, you know, Reggie and his whole, everybody else I think has some, that we got to get that one brother, Abba. Who was the dude that was calling you the coon? Kept wanting to call you coon. Let's make sure we get him back on too, so we can.
Yeah,
we can
some
talk
nobody do, but we could definitely bring him on too.
Yeah.
You know?
The
So,
brother from
Adam,
St.
y'all know what
Louis.
happened to me all over there, though? You know, I was listening to it, and, you know, for me personally, I'm into listening to intellectuals and good information. But what kept happening was Garfield necessarily wasn't engaged. Y'all know Garfield, my dude. And so the panel was going haywire. And every time y'all get ready to make a clear, concise point, excuse my language, the cutoff artist would come in and cut y'all off. So y'all got cut off, cut, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like y'all was making, like y'all couldn't finish y'all thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all had good information, y'all couldn't hammer it home because y'all was getting cut off. Now Garfield not gonna be like that when he come on here. Reggie will come on here. We call him Reggie, get on here.
Reggie a sucker. He said he's not coming on.
Nah, Reggie, come on. Reggie, come on. We call Reggie on here, man.
If you could get him on, if you could talk to him.
It's you know, we just trying to I've always been trying to transform the community in having the intelligent conversations instead of the blackout conversations where everything is right because it's black, or everything is right because it's Christian, or everything is right because that's not the intelligent conversation. You know what I'm saying? You have to strike a healthy balance. And so that's why I'm rooting for y'all. I'm rooting for y'all study methodology where y'all do it, and keep bringing that information forward. But you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a conversation. And, you know, sometimes I can get in the gutter with it. But I had to realize that arguing back and forth with a bunch of nuts, and I'm not calling Garfield nuts, just and not being in the intelligent conversation, it lowers your intellectual standards down. Where when you get in a good conversation, you'll end up using too many cuss words. You'll end up, you know, like I had Dr. Miata invited me to actually give a little lecture to her college class. You know, she's raising them up to be engineers in Morgan State. And so I had to really work hard on giving the information without cussing, without saying, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, I mean. That made me realize that I got to stop hanging around half these dudes. I mean, seriously. Because it has lowered what I was raised on, being able to whine.
Yo, right? hold on. Remember what Wesley Muhammad called it? He called it ghetto scholarship. And he used Sarasu and Seti as an example. And I don't know if you watched that lecture back in the days, the end of ghetto scholarship, but he had used Sarasu and Seti. He said that he was speaking about the ghettoization of scholarship, that it was degrading it to make these presentations with such vitriol and such foul language. So as you were saying that instantly popped in my mind. And it's one of the reasons why I sought to refine myself very early on. That's why every time I go on Sarnetta, I'll be like, Sarnetta, can you remember a time when Lord Abba came on here and been cursing and screaming and going crazy? He's like, no, that's, you always conduct yourself righteously, Lord Abba, yada, yada, yada. So But I feel you, brother. I feel you.
I'm gonna put up them shows. Adam.
Yeah, well, see, that was you were.
Don't let them take y'all out. But hold on,
like,
but
all gonna be
but no, but
here we got Lord Albert cursing me out in 19. I mean in 20.
Now, when y'all
2010.
debated Islam, you both was cursing though. When you
Oh, yeah,
Garfield and y'all both was calling each other's mothers and everything. I said, yo, Uncle, why on this show tonight?
That was
run
funny.
that
Man,
up.
that's crazy.
He got beat up on that. He did. He got beat up on that. But Wesley actually pushed me to start the Raw squad. So you call it ghetto scholarship. I call it poor man scholarship. The same thing happened to what's the guy who lost a couple $1 million? Was it Nick Cannon? He actually was presenting. I called the poor man's information. Meaning because you got universities and libraries and scholarly work and peer-reviewed literature and the whole 9 yards, people veer away from that and they use the poor man information because it costs money to do what we do. You know, to get the journal of Nature, journal of Science. You know what I'm saying? Buy books. I mean, good quality books. So we call it poor man scholarship. Wesley called it ghetto scholarship. I don't like the ghetto part because people in Black communities can have good information. I think, you know, we're all prime examples of that. I would call it the poor man's information. That's what we call it. And that goes for all races of people. So Wesley suffers from the same thing. He is too close to the Nation of Islam, right? His scholarship game has been hampered by his love, watch this, by his love for the Nation of Islam. Okay, so he also presents poor man's information. He regularly makes mistakes about evolution. He speaks out of turn on it. And, you know, we just got to stop that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't allow your organization to put you on par with misinformation, no matter what it is.
That's a
so
fact.
We all got our favorites, right? I got Dr. Ben, right? You got Noble Drew Ali, right? So we all got our favorites, but our favorites too made mistakes. So it's our job not to bleat ride, right? It's our job to actually stand on their shoulders and bring forth more information, meaning we know more because we can stand up on their shoulders and see more than what they can see.
That's right. That's a fact. And that was one of the things that Noble Drew Ali has said. He said there's still much wisdom for y'all to learn. Like, I just brought y'all just a little something to wake y'all up. And he prophesied in the future that there would be this great awakening. But unfortunately, man, you know, a lot of the Moors, I mean, like when I come into the movement, just to like camel back off of your example, the prophet prophesied new Moors would come in eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. Already know it. They would just already come. So when I come in, it was just this host of jealousy. And I started to actually bring scholarship. Like I'm cited in actual scholars' works. You can find textbooks that are in universities on African-American Islam, and you're gonna see the name Sheikh Way L cited in footnotes from my book to my papers. So and people were jealous of that. They were scared to elevate past a certain point. And a lot of that is what we see with the Garfields and the Reggies. Some people get so caught up on personality and man worship that the mission is clouded in their minds. You know what I'm saying? What is the mission? The mission is to close the racial wealth gap. Okay, how do you close the racial wealth gap? Let's real quick. How do you close the racial wealth gap? The economists have concluded that reparations is the only way to do it. We can have every other discussion and debate about atheism, about Islam, about Allah, Amin Ra. We can have all of that stuff secondary, but we need to be unified politically as we make this push for our people. And it's not just reparations that we're fighting for. We're fighting for greater political representation as well, because we're underrepresented in that arena as well. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Logic.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I'm listening to y'all talk, and you know, I've been rocking with you for about 10 years now. We started out in a debate type of relationship as well, going at each other, right? And I've been around, I've seen the conscious community. You and Brother Ankh have just spoken about it. And then not only that, I've been around in all organizations, you know, and what I see is one of the biggest dividers is this whole fight for whose religion is the best, who has the best religious ideology. And I think that that's kind of always have been getting in the way of our unification efforts, you know, from you can use the Malcolm and Martin relationship. We can use multiple relationships, but I think that common bond that can unify us in all of our efforts to achieve really a common goal is that our ancestors. And that's why I like the ADOS, self-identification, the American descendants of slavery, and Native Black Americans. I like that terminology because it unifies us around something real, a real history that we all know. You understand? Now, when you understand that, right? When you understand, see, when you understand that my grandfather, if you understand that my father is from Mississippi and he was born in a damn cotton field. You understand that? So when my great grandfather was gunned down in a cotton field for things that he was doing. When you have a history where your uncles were chased home because they were out without supervision, when you have a history of your relatives being lynched and hung, that's something I can put that other stuff aside. You understand? Because everybody's looking for whose God is the best, and everybody's looking for whose religion is the best. But we all know who our family is. You know who your mom is. You know who your grandmother is. You might not know about Allah. You might not know about Jesus or Jehovah or none of that stuff, but you know grandma. You know great grandma. You know great grandfather. You know auntie and them. You understand? You understand the pain and the suffering that our family members experience all through this country is real. There ain't no debate about that. And if you're debating about that, I don't know, you got to get your head checked. You understand? You don't go through 85 years of lynching, chattel slavery, Jim Crow, convict leasing. You understand? My brother Josh on this podium said his dad was arrested because he didn't have, I don't think it was the dad, but one of his family members was arrested because he didn't have $7 in his pocket. If you had family that had to live in sundown laws, in sundown towns, and in sundown counties, this is the unifying bond that moves us and fuels our reparations fight. So somebody that don't understand that, I got a problem with them. You understand? Right. Somebody that think that's lightweight or that's some goofy shit or it's funny, I got a problem with that because that's real. That's blood. That's my people in the ground, in the grave. You understand? Ain't nothing funny about your family's historical heritage being snatched out from underneath them because the domestic terrorism burnt down their businesses, burnt down their homes, coming in, raping the women. So we speak from that academic point too much and don't speak from that personal connection to that history. See, that's why I like to keep my history close. We can go all into Egypt. I can go into Africa. I can go into the Moors and Spain and all of that, right? But I don't feel that pain. I feel that pain, that history that's close right here of my family being on the blue plantation in Georgia. My father's side of the family working for the Cotton King in Mississippi. I know the iron hand oppression of racism here in North America. That's what put my people in the ground. That's what I'm fighting for. You understand?
Hey, let me expound off that real quick though.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to say that's why Garfield, you can't speak for us, Garfield, and we're gonna fight you every step of the way until we crush you, point blank, period. Go ahead, Brother Dre, but I want to make another point because it's eight.
Yo, you ain't crushing my man, Garfield.
No, we crushing your man. He getting crushed. 8:52. Yo, 8 minutes. I gotta get up off here. I gotta catch Lovecraft Country. I'm letting y'all know that.
All right. I just wanna build off that real quick. First of all, the thoughts and views expressed by Lord Abbott does not reflect what I think about you, Garfield, even though you're a contrarian. All right, so expounded off what he said. I say to Abbott, me and you have talked about this the other day on the phone. Not just religion, it's that, and I'm not taking no shot at Garfield, but a lot of people on his show, right? They're literally are playing tug of war to be the next YouTube sensation. So there's one thing that Ankh said, which is ghetto scholarship, but there's something else that I like to call disingenuous intelligence. I.e., for example, you had Nick Cannon, who is literally, like a multi-millionaire. I know this for a fact. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story. Around 2008, I used to hang out in Hollywood with his boy that was writing some of his raps and writing his commercials. Because in the way Los Angeles is set up, you would get like every month you would get a certain amount of pilot shows to work on. So he had that type of like clout. Point making is this: we out in front of his studio in Studio City, LA, right across the street from where NBC is at. He drives past with Mariah, right? He has no turban on. He makes the U-turn, goes into the studio, walks through the back. He comes and see me and my man. He puts the turban on. I said, "Why were you with Mariah driving down Universal City without the turban? And now you see me in the studio with your man, Kev Ryder, you got the turban on." Like me and him got into like a real live argument. The point that I'm trying to make is this. This is why it's disingenuous. And I want everybody in the chat to walk with me. Him telling black people that you are the true Israelites doesn't do nothing to feed no child. It doesn't do nothing to pay your bills. It doesn't do nothing to change your situation.
Come on, man.
Now, I'm going to show you this, right? Let's see if now this is why it's disingenuous. If he was genuous about it, he would have took $3 or $4 million, went to Laos County and said, how much it takes? It takes $12,000 to fix the septic tank. Let me give you $50,000 so now y'all can actually have running sewage. But you gonna tell me, who I don't even believe in God, right? I'm the original Hebrew Israelite, like that's gonna pay my student loan. That's gonna put me out of the eviction crisis. Now you get able to, even though they take your corny show wilding out from you, you could dance away and still go do the Masked Singer with your bow tie and your cummerbund on while black people are still suffering. See, that's disingenuous. That first of all, it takes nothing. I can say, listen, right now, listen, y'all, we the chosen people of God. We still broke tomorrow, y'all.
That's right.
That's just a fact. So
that's right.
That's what I'm telling you. When you look at these platforms now, you got a guy. Me and you talk about this, Abba. Me and talk about this. You got a guy who's literally illiterate, raised 80,000 on YouTube, say he's gonna sue YouTube, Young Pharaoh. You got all these clowns that are disingenuous to our community. And this is the people who we follow. This is why you can't kind of like galvanize each other, because everyone is jostling for to be that number one illiterate scholar. That's just what it is.
Let me jump in real quick, because I know you can rock, girl. You go hard. He take us back in the days there, Lord Abba. He ain't playing. So I think I mean, so like I study evolution, so it's important, and I don't have a problem with the young pseudo, Lord of the pseudos. I don't have a problem with what he's saying. I know you do. I'm saying, I can't stand him, but that's not the point. The point is their voices help diversify things. Their voices actually create an arena of conversation where you can just beat their ass up. Excuse my language. So if we didn't have that there, then what would be the litmus? The problem is other communities have been taking care of that. That's why there's a clear line and divide between science and what y'all want to call spirituality, and they don't mix the two. That's part of our development as African Americans, to be able to separate the two. You'll hear people give you examples and say, well, the ancient African, they never separated their spirituality from science. And I'm saying that the Egyptians were on their way to doing it. They just had not grown to that level yet. The level of the day is to be able to understand the natural world through science. That is the standard bearer. That is the gold standard. That is the level. How do we know it? Because the only time the quote unquote Islamic world reached the golden age is when they created systems like the House of Wisdom and Baghdad. This is the one and only time they reached the golden age. Kemet, when they was engineering pyramids, this is the old kingdom, right? Standards. So science will always be the standard. You can go back to 3.3 million years in Kenya. Ardipithecus, Afrokensensis, they actually created stone tools, technology. Science has always been the standard of human endeavor. If you do not understand your ecology, Ecology will kill you.
Definitely. All right, look, I'm getting off. Y'all be prepared Tuesday. I don't know if they're gonna come on. So
They
brother
coming?
Drake, I'm shout you out
Just
as
text.
well
Yeah,
if you want to
just
come
text
through.
me. Just text me.
Definitely. All right. So look, family, we just did a little quick pop up, pop up, pop out, how we do. And I'm about to get into my Lovecraft country right now. I'm kind of hooked on that as I'm writing my own little script as well. And getting my ideas. Shout out to the BTP team that jumped on. My brother Josh, my brother Logic. We will be on this Tuesday, family. And we gonna get it in, man. We gonna get it in, but yo, I'm out. Peace.
Peace, man. Peace, right? All right, brother.
Peace, man.
Peace, bro. Hey, you in Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore. Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Yeah. I'm out here in the DC area, Northern Virginia.
Oh yeah. I'm a fan of y'all's, man. I'm always tuning in and listening to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
Okay, yeah, man. I heard you go at it before. I appreciate the way you used to argue, make your points, man. It was a tough dude to deal with, man. Bro.
And well, you know what? It's not that it's me. It's that we got science is undefeated.
That's
and
right.
I can get the community to see that politics, since politics is all around us, to have a community, you got to have politics. You got to be involved in politics. It's important.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make the decision whether you allot this kind of money to science, allot this kind of money to this, that, and other, whether you should pass legislation to have churches not to be taxed. This is politics. You have to control the politics in your community. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna always be undefeated because I stick straight to the science, straight to the technology. You're never gonna win. You're never gonna get past science. I got a 7 million year history to prove to you that humans and Arctopithecines and Homo erectus is always based off of technology and how you handle your cows. Ain't no getting past that. Nope.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think he still got this broadcast going.
Part two. Let's